Welcome to the WLAQ Community Spotlight, where we highlight the wonderful organizations and people that make the Rome community a great place to call home. Here's today's host.
Well, thanks for that warm reception, and welcome to the latest edition of WLAQ Community Spotlight. I'm Elizabeth Davis, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the 20th anniversary edition of the Rome International Film Festival. We've got Executive Director Leanne Cook in the studio, along with Mark Van Leuven, the president of the RIF Board of Directors. And it's great to have y'all here today. Thanks for joining me.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And you guys are celebrating a major milestone this year, the 20th anniversary of RIF, and you've got some special things planned for that.
Oh, we have so many special things planned for that. Do you want me to tell or you?
By all means.
Okay. If I forget one, yeah. We have so many things. First of all, we have a really neat community event, which is for our 20th anniversary. We've invited back all the previous executive directors and presidents of RIF since its founding. And so they're all going to be, well, not all of them, but most of them are coming to town because some of them don't live here anymore. And so we're going to have a big celebration for them on Thursday evening and show our appreciation to them. And one of them, Shay Bentley Griffin, who I bet you know, is well known across the country as a casting director. She's been on our board for a long time, and she's now a board emeritus, but we're also going to give her a special award, too. So that's at least two things we're doing. But we also have special guests.
Yes, and I want to clarify, the Rome International Film Festival, as you said, gets underway this Thursday, November 2nd. It will continue through Sunday, November 5th. Right. And yes, I'm very excited about the special guests that are going to be joining you this year.
And Mark can tell you about those.
Yes. Mark,
well,
Ethan
we have a number of
Hawke.
special
How did you
guests.
get Ethan Hawke to Rome, Georgia?
Ethan Hawke came little spit, a little polish, duct tape, baling wire. Now we're fortunate that we have some really good contacts within the organization, and people that we've worked with, along with Seth and so on. We were able to land Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke has directed a film called Wildcat, which is about the life of Flannery O'Connor, one of Georgia's own, that wrote 2 novels and a number of short stories. Wonderful writer. And the film stars his daughter, Maya Hawke, of Stranger Things fame, a number of other endeavors, as well as a musician in her own right. So it just made sense to showcase that movie in Flannery O'Connor's own home. And we will be presenting the Flannery O'Connor Award, which we last had awarded to Billy Bob Thornton at our 2021 Film Festival. So he is our first signature guest coming this weekend.
Awesome. That's going to be exciting. That's going to be so much. And, Dead Poets Society, what a classic film.
It's true.
Yeah. And I have to say, here at WLAQ, we're a family business. We appreciate people who work, families who work in the same business together. And so that's the case for Ethan and Maya, as well as a couple of your other special guests.
That's right. We've also got Tim Blake Nelson, and he's not so much of a household name, but I guarantee you anybody that Googles a picture of him will go, oh, I've seen that guy in so many things. He was also in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And he's been in a couple of movies we've had here at RIF before. And he is coming in his family way with his son, Henry, and they have their new film called Asleep in My Palm, and that's for Saturday night. So the two of them will be there, and they directed and starred in the film.
Yeah, well, as I said, we're a family business here at WLAQ, so we can appreciate families that work in the same business together.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about let's talk about some of the other films that will be highlighted. I know you guys usually have a block of Georgia films, regional stuff. What are some other things folks can look forward to?
We definitely have all of those things. We have got a real strong focus this year on shorts, and we have animated short films from all around the country. We also have student shorts from around here. We have foreign shorts, and we have Georgia shorts. So things that you just got finished saying, we have all of those. And we also have a lot of Georgia-made films. The very first movie on Thursday night is actually a Georgia-made film. It was made by some folks who work in Atlanta in the theater world, and there's several stars in that movie that actually live in Atlanta. And so that entire movie is really based in Atlanta and Georgia, and we did that on purpose because we want to show that we are a believer in Georgia filming and Georgia production, because that's very important to us.
And I want to talk more about your connections with Georgia Film in just a little bit. But I want to kind of switch over a little bit and talk about the world representation at RIF. You guys experienced a tragedy recently. The Hamas attacks on Israel kind of hit close to home for the Rome International Film Festival. Mark, if you could speak to that.
Well, it started out with a film that we had a couple years ago. We had a small animated film by a filmmaker named Toby Keach, a 6-minute animated live-action flick called Gruff and Me, and got the attention of the Israeli consulate down in Atlanta. We had them come on up by our invitation and started talking about some of the industry at large in Israel, which is right now at a point where we were as the state of Georgia probably about 20, 25 years ago. There were a number of elements in common. This talk led to the next talk. Next thing we knew, we were connected with a film festival in Sderot, which is the closest, I guess, Israeli college to the Gaza Strip as you could possibly be. Now, as you all have heard in the news for the last month, unless you've been living under a rock, Sderot was one of the towns that was infiltrated by Hamas terrorists with the outbreak of hostilities on, I think it was October 7th.
October 7th.
So earlier this month. Before this, once we went over to Israel, we signed a memorandum of understanding with Cinema South Film Festival and Sapir Academic College, which is a college of film and television. Most of these folks over there are graduate students, and what they're producing is not public access television type films. And they're producing really good quality films. A lot of it's because the age of the folks that are coming out of there, these are folks who have either been or are serving in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. So really sharp program over there. We signed the MOU, and this year we were entertaining a delegation from Israel coming to Rome. As circumstances tragically bore out, the lead delegate of the 2-person delegation was pulled from his home, protecting his wife and his 1-month-old child, and they found him 3 days later in a field. I won't tell you how they brutalized him, but he was brutalized by Hamas terrorists. So it was definitely a cause for pause about what happened, because this is an example of where we're all storytellers at the heart of it in the film industry. Mm-hmm. And this is where, unfortunately, life imitates art and vice versa, becoming part of the story. So we will be showcasing the Israeli bloc as we plan to. The delegation, needless to say, will not be coming over, but we are showcasing a film, the last film that the gentleman, his name was Yahav. Yahav did a 20-minute film called The Boy. The last movie that he produced, it was literally hot off the presses in post-production. And we'll be showing that this year and paying tribute to him. And we will be having the Israeli consulate come up to represent the interest of the Israelis at our festival. So it's very, very bittersweet, needless to say, not to try to put a downer on the whole thing, but it does illustrate that none of us are immune to what's going on in the world. And one of the things that we've espoused and as an organization is the fact that here we are, Rome, the world is coming to us. Let's show you what we've got and show us what you've got. Yeah. And this
Reach
is
out
one
to
of
the
our,
world.
Yes, exactly. This is one of those golden partnerships that we had, and to have something like that happen so early on into it. Right now, it might be too early, but I mean, at the least we can do is honor his memory, and the show must go on, as they say.
I'm sure they very much appreciate that, and what a great way to honor his life and legacy.
We hope.
Yeah. So let's talk more. I want to talk more about international affairs, as it were,
Sure.
if we can, because you were telling me before we went on that you're working on a partnership with the Bahamas, and let me just say, take me with you.
Okay.
Well, not taking this lightly, but certainly a place that's a little bit safer right now. Bahamas, we have had a juror for the last several years. Her name is Rowena Poitier-Sutherland. She's the niece of Sidney Poitier, who is from the Bahamas, or wasn't, because he passed away about a year and a half ago. Rowena has been a wonderful force. She's one of our jurors, and tremendously talented. Rowena and a number of us have been talking about forging a partnership similar in the vein of the Israeli partnership, where we have an exchange of workshops and ideas and films and so on. And that will be coming to fruition in January. She'll be coming here this year. There will be representatives of the Bahamian Diplomatic Corps, in addition to the Israeli Diplomatic Corps, coming to our humble film festival. And in January, we'll be going to the Bahamas to sign a memorandum of understanding with the folks over in the Bahamas.
Such tough work, Mark. Such
Tough work.
So let's talk more about this year's festival. The Rome International Film Festival begins this Thursday, November 2nd, continues through Sunday. And you guys have got something for everyone at admission cost for everyone. For people who want to, hang out the whole weekend, or if they just want to take in a film or two.
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, thank goodness, because we really want to make films accessible to people. So we have come up with something for every price point, and I do mean every. So there, you can buy an individual ticket for as little as $10 to see one of the films, or you can be all in and go to every film, every party, everything. And the highest level tickets that we have are also on the website. And we're happy to take people's patron money, and that's for the patron tickets. So those are $200 a piece. But they certainly do include everything. So we have over 128 films that we're showing and about 6 panel discussions. And there's a party every single night.
Yes.
So if you think about $200 for all of that, it's actually still a great deal, but it helps support independent film, which is what our goal is. But we also don't want to ever turn people away. And so that's why we have that $10 rate for a single ticket. And we believe very much in education and students. And so we actually have a way that students can get a pass to see everything for $25.
Hey, that's nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, membership has its privileges in the case if you're a student. So let's talk about, speaking of students, educational opportunity as well as networking opportunities at this year's event.
Well, educational opportunities abound, of course, in terms of we will have panel discussions where people can learn various things. We're going to have one specifically with Kodak.
Cool.
It's kind of interesting. Apparently, shooting on film is coming back, just like we've seen lots of other old technologies coming back. So we're actually going to have a panel discussion and sort of a workshop on how to shoot on old school film, which cracks me up that we have to teach people that, but they really don't know how.
Yeah.
So that's an educational thing that's really interesting, I think. But we
Next
also,
thing you know, they're going to bring 8 tracks
that's
back.
right. They probably will. And
I'll be one of the first to install one in my car.
we are also doing a film series with Barry, and it's the Riff Barry Through a Different Lens film series. And that series, we do actually have a film in the festival called The Elephant Six Studio and Recording Company. And that's actually based in Athens. And it's one of those sort of indie movements from the late 90s where there was a type of music that actually used old 8-track tapes.
That's cool.
I know, isn't that funny? And added some other things like electronica. It's a very interesting kind of genre, and it was very popular and still has a lot of fans. And so a guy that was involved in that movement has done a documentary, and it's very interesting. It talks about the music, but it also talks about how the music affected famous people. And so there are several well-known actors or other personalities in the film too, just talking about how much they love it. And so Barry and we are doing this film series, and the whole idea is just to talk about different subjects and bring subject matter experts to the table. And so for that film, we'll be having several different people that are very knowledgeable about music in this town. And there are so many to choose from. And then we're going to have Seth Turner, the guy that owns Capitoline, the record store that is so cool in downtown Rome. Yeah. He's going to come and be the moderator. So it's something like that is another educational thing. And then the last thing I would say is we have spent a lot of time this year raising money for a student film academy that we just had on Friday. And so we're going to be celebrating those students in addition to the college students that we work with in local cinema studios. And that's a company that actually exists only to give college students opportunities in film. And so we're going to be doing a joint celebration with those guys and with Georgia Highlands College, who sponsors our Student Film Festival and Film Academy. So we'll have a party for them and their family members on Saturday to celebrate them. And one last thing, which is we're going to have about 6 different shorts blocks that are about student films of different kinds. So there is definitely a strong educational bent to Riff. There always has been, and we're just continuing to lean more and more into that because we think it's important, and that's part of our responsibility to this community.
Yeah.
And tying into what Leanne was mentioning there a moment ago, one of the things we want to impress is that Riff itself as an organization is evolving. It's evolved quite a bit just the last few years, being more of a year-round organization. It's not just about the 4-day party, which is great. I mean, we're showcasing Rome and bringing the world to Rome and showing films and having parties and networking and showing what people do in the film industry. But the educational aspect, the educational outreach, focus on literacy, focusing on storytelling and what role that plays in increasing literacy in the area and getting people to tell their stories more effectively through the medium of film. We have done a number of things throughout the year, and we continue to. We've got some great things lined up this next year that are in keeping with what we've done this last year by having the summer film series over at the City Auditorium with our partners, the City of Rome. The Student Film Academy, to Leanne's point, has been wildly successful with our great partners at Georgia Highlands College. A number of other workshops that we'll be holding throughout the year. We're progressing more in the direction of just serving as an institution in the community that is operating year-round. The festival's just the juggernaut. That's kind of the big, like, hey, here it is. This is the big whiz bang for you guys. But stay tuned. More coming. 365, or at least this next year, 366 days.
Yes.
That's
yeah,
right.
I've got a leap year coming up. So you talk about how you've been raising money. You've been, doing a lot of fundraising efforts to try to get support for these educational opportunities. If there are people in our listening audience that would like to contribute, I'm sure that you would accept their contributions.
Oh, we would. I would come over to their house and pick it up if they would like.
She will.
Awesome.
She absolutely will.
But the best way to look for those things and to find out about them is just to go to our website because we have all that information there. And it's RIFF, RIFFGA, as in Rome International Film Festival, Georgia.com. So riffga.com.
Awesome.
And we have ways to donate and ways to buy passes there. And we also have a lot of information about that Berry College partnership I just talked about is also very much on the front page.
Yeah, awesome. So we talked about how, Georgia obviously well represented, the United States, Israel, the Bahamas, all represented in this event. What other countries are represented? And states, for that matter.
Well, I did not bring the exact statistics, but let me see if I can call them up in my mind. I believe there are more than 40 different countries represented in the films that we had submitted, and there are more than 20 that will be seen.
Awesome.
What was the second question? Let's see. The states. Well, we have everything from someone in Washington, now I don't mean D.C., but the other Washington, down to Southern California, up to Maine, and of course here in Georgia. So I'd say we've pretty much got the states covered.
Yeah. And of course, this event will bring a lot of visitors into town. What do you hope their experience will be upon visiting Rome, Georgia?
Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
Southern hospitality
Let's bring it
and
on,
having a good time while having a productive time. Learning all there is to know about filmmaking process, how they can either jumpstart their career, how to tap into their muse, more or less. There's just so much. that we have to offer as a festival. It's really kind of like a fun workshop, fun convention. It's just. It's just everything, really, when it comes down. We're the whole ball of wax when it comes down to it.
Yeah, that's
Well,
great.
and we're trying especially to appeal to people that want to come out of town because we also see that as something we need to do is try to attract people to this fabulous town that we live in. So let's see, we have hotel discounts and we have all kinds of welcoming things for new people. We have maps. We have an app that we're going to be launching. We have the opportunity to just let people know that it's in a very short part of Rome. You can walk everywhere too. So once someone gets here, they can spend the whole day, the whole weekend just within, 5 city blocks and have a wonderful time. So we're trying really hard to make it a walkable, easy, fun place for people to get away to and looking forward to having people from Chattanooga and Atlanta. We have had a lot of publicity in those areas. And so generally speaking, we have about 40% of our audience that don't live in Floyd County. And so I think we'll probably see at least that many this year. And of course, when they come, they spend their money here, right? They buy stuff in all the restaurants, they eat, they go and get something to be on the red carpet, and they see what a great town this is. And, I'm not talking politically, but some of that money goes for SPLOST things that helps to keep that whole fund going. And so really visitors to town, that's very important to us. We work a lot with the chamber. We work a lot with the downtown development for that reason, because visitors to town is something we are very focused on attracting so they can have fun, so they can learn, so they can hopefully invest in us as we invest in them.
Sure.
The economic footprint does expand each year. And yes, we do have a much larger regional footprint as far as the people that come to the festival than here in Rome, which we often see. Sometimes in your own town, it's like being in New York your whole life and not visiting the Statue of Liberty. Now, I'm not comparing
Good
us
point,
to the
good point.
Statue of Liberty, but And certainly we welcome people in Rome to see what we're all about. But one of the greatest compliments as a festival organization and for the people that are involved with the festival is when people come up and say, you know, we're from Wisconsin or we're from Ulaanbaatar in Upper Mongolia.
Wow.
Whatever, you know, and we've heard people come and say one of the reasons why we've decided to move to Rome because A, the cost of living has gone up elsewhere. B, along with that, the quality of life has decreased. They see Rome as a city that's worth their attention because it's easier to do business in Rome. It's a more relaxed way of life, but it's not a dead way of life. I mean, we have a lot going on. It's nice when they mentioned the film festival and several other key events and key institutions in town as being something that they want in their lives to increase and improve their quality of life. That's a compliment. That's a compliment to Rome. You know, it affects obviously the economic footprint, and it's a compliment to us as an organization. Which, you know, I'll say, hey, great. That's because there's a lot of people involved that makes this happen. Not just Leanne and myself and Seth. And
a whole team.
There's a lot of people, and they all deserve credit for that.
Yeah, it takes a small army, no doubt.
It does.
Yeah.
Or a family. I mean, to get
We
on
have
that
more
whole
than
note of
50
family.
people that volunteer for us every year just for the festival. So we love that, and a lot of them are college students. So that's great to see those people that are interested in film so early and interested in being part of the community so early.
Yeah. And so just a couple of more questions, and then I know that we got to wrap it up before too long. But first of all, I do want to talk more about film in Georgia because there are so many opportunities around these parts these days, and you want to showcase that at RIF.
We do. On Thursday, that's basically our topic for the entire day. So we have a great partner in the Georgia Entertainment News Group, and they are one of the top websites in the entertainment industry for Georgia, and you can find all the stuff about movies, filming, jobs, etc. And they are actually working with us, and they're going to bring a road show that they've been taking around the state here to Rome, and that will be on Thursday. And so it's the Georgia Entertainment News RIF Georgia Unscripted Roadshow, and they do things like bring one of the big research professors from UGA is going to come and unveil the results of a study he made about how Georgia has so much economic impact from the film industry, $4.4 billion with the B dollars.
Wow.
We've got lots of other people coming to talk, and then we have some local folks coming to talk about film too, because we do so much here with Berry College and other folks. They're going to be represented. So that day is really a day for us to celebrate what we've already been doing in the film industry, but also to think about, okay, what else do we need to do? We're talking about esports and gaming and really ramping up in those areas and music production. And also there is this little thing called the tax incentive that's kind of a big deal that's coming up for a vote in the not too distant future that we need to make sure that people understand the benefits of. And so that'll be part of the conversation as well.
Awesome. I want to go back to the special guests that are going to be with you guys at the film festival, Ethan Hawke, and I don't have his name in front of me. Tim Blake Nelson, because I understand that you're going to have Q&A sessions with both of these gentlemen.
That's right.
We will.
After each film, there'll be a Q&A where we have folks that are moderators that are on our board and folks from around the city, and they're going to be part of that, and they'll sit down with the star, and all the folks that are in the audience will still be able to stay and talk about the film, talk about the process, ask them some questions about their lives. The point is to really kind of get a flavor for what that person is like. And Mark does a lot of these himself, so he probably has a different, even better perspective.
Anything you'd like to add to that, Mark?
Just a smidge. I mean, that last part you mentioned that one again. I was having a hard time hearing.
Oh, I just said, it's an opportunity to really kind of get to know those people. We're asking about their films, but also other interesting things in their lives.
Completely. I mean, both at the parties and not necessarily at the parties. You'll probably learn to get a bit more intel at the parties for obvious reasons. But yeah, I mean, it's a way of meeting and engaging with them on a casual level, and that definitely helps as opposed to just going to a convention and getting your photos signed, which, there'll be some people doing that. But one of the things we love about RIF is the fact that people, it's, again, getting back to the notion of family. Everybody is here, whether they're a special guest, a dignitary, part of the diplomatic corps, us as an organization, fellow Romans, countrymen, whatever, they all get together and they're acting as a family, like they hadn't seen each other for the last year, and they're sharing a drumstick and fighting over cranberry sauce. I mean, it's not. It doesn't come off like a Star Trek convention. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's something that, that has its place. What we like to do is be a bit more engaging, more congenial, where it doesn't feel like a business, where it doesn't feel like an obligation, where we're all like-minded souls in this whole narrative. so
Yeah.
to speak, in the film community. I would be remiss to say that we have some good jurors coming, of some repeat jurors. Like we've got Ethan Embry coming back. This will be his third year, along with his wife, Sunny Mabry, who is also an actress in her own right. The reason they came that first year was because of a film. She did a really funny horror short that we screened at the auditorium. They fell in love with Rome. They live in Atlanta half the year. So they're coming back. We've got Carson Garrett of Survivor fame is coming. He's going to be one of our jurors. Who's the guy who played in Third Rock? French Stewart. French Stewart will be here.
Wow.
So
Okay.
we got
That's
a
cool.
lot of people that are coming. Antonia Bogdanovich, who is the daughter of Peter Bogdanovich and director Polly Platt. This will be her second year here. One of the reasons we're doing this is because we are on target to become an Oscar qualifying festival. So these are all things that help embolden our efforts to grow as an organization, grow that economic footprint, and also basically be a more, I guess, focused organization for the endeavors that we espouse and hold dear to our heart.
Awesome. I know we're getting close to the end of the program. So, of course, this is the latest edition of Community Spotlight here on WLAQ YouTube, the WLAQ YouTube channel, and the WLAQ Rome Facebook page. My guest from the Rome International Film Festival, Executive Director Leanne Cook, and Mark Van Leuven, who is the President of the Board of Directors. We got about a minute or so. If any parting thoughts you'd like to share.
I want to see people come out and watch some films with us, because there's nothing more fun than buying a bag of popcorn and sitting in a darkened theater with a bunch of other people and enjoying the experience. It is so wonderful. And so we hope everybody will come and have that with us.
In the parlance of North Georgia, we love seeing butts and seats.
Hey, there you go.
We love seeing butts and seats.
And
Come on.
thank you for having us.
Check us out
yeah.
at our riffga.com. That's riffga.com to look into what we can do to get you some passes and show you all a good time this weekend.
Absolutely.
Man, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it, and certainly looking forward to welcoming a bunch of visitors to our fair city. Thank you guys for spending some time with us this afternoon.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
And again, our guest on this edition of Community Spotlight from the Rome International Film Festival, Leanne Cook, Executive Director, and Mark Van Leuven, who is the President of the Board of Directors. We got to wrap it up. That's this week's edition of the Community Spotlight here on WLAQ Radio YouTube channel and the WLAQ Rome Facebook page. I'm out. I'm Elizabeth Davis. Y'all have a great day.
This has been the WLAQ Community Spotlight. We thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the WLAQ Radio YouTube channel and follow WLAQ Rome on Facebook.